What's up, you guys? Welcome to another video. Now, I want to talk about dating in general for men that are over the age of 30 with children. So, me, I am a single father of three boys, and those three boys are one is severely autistic, one has learning disabilities. He's a little slow, really, compared to his peers. And my other son, Nathaniel, he's actually probably the top of his class. Um, it's not easy, and trying to find the time to date somebody is also challenging. So, but you know, trying to it's a good thing to try to keep your dating life uh, and your family life separate for the meantime, everything during your dating period. So until there's a certain point. So, but with me, throughout my life, everything, if I would have done that, I would have been lonely the whole time. So, because being with having autistic children, you can't leave their side, and whoever you're dating has to kick it with you, has to be with your kids. So, um, my son Raiden and Christopher don't have a mother, and so that's also a dynamic. So they have to try to work past. But the main thing about that is if you're ever in this predicament, as like I have been, is to be extremely positive about the situation and try to introduce. And the main thing is to show your kids that you treat women with absolute respect and love and dignity and everything, and show them exactly what a healthy relationship is. So that is something that's never really been mirrored for me and everything through my past. I grew up in a household that my parents really were clashing all the time, and it was very detrimental to my childhood. So, and I had to go through years of trial and error and trying to correct myself and to be able to display healthy relationships in the future. So, thank God I actually went through a lot of counseling and therapy and studied a lot about relationships and the psychology of relationships and communication to actually build that structure and everything with other women and try to understand them more and understand where we're laying down boundaries and healthy boundaries, and if those boundaries are not met, everything, sometimes you got to break off the relationship. And as a parent, you have to be more careful about this, especially this day and age, because if you are displaying unhealthy relationship dynamics to children, that's going to carry on to the next generation. So, and that's something that you want to break the cycle. I mean, I know almost every single person, you know, in this day and age has a childhood that was not ideal. I mean, and a lot of them were really hard, like my childhood. So, and I don't want to make my son's childhood. I want to make that, it's a lot less than what I experienced. So, don't get me wrong. Everything, like my boys and I, we went through some stuff. There was one time when we were homeless. So, and we made it work. But there's one thing I can say absolutely is that I always display healthy relationship dynamics in front of them and how I respect and love women. So, but I also taught them a lot about my dating experiences of how women react and how to date them and how to set up dates and what has been going on in my relationships. And a lot of parents, they leave that out, or they don't teach their kids about that. But you know what? I think that is extremely healthy, because I don't want my sons to go into the dating their dating experiences when they become of age is blind. Like, okay, Dad, now it's time. What do I do? I'm like, at this time and everything. I'm like, I've been talking to you about how to date women and the healthy dynamics of relationships and books and audiobooks and instructional videos and my personal opinions and learning from my trials and errors, and so you don't have to go through the stuff that I went through. And so when you go into a relationship in your future, you're going to be ready. You're going to know how to lay down healthy boundaries and have love and respect towards each other. And if those boundaries aren't met and everything, you can work things out and everything will break it off. I think it is absolutely important to teach our children and everything how, especially our young men these days, that young men are not taught at a young age of how to respect themselves, how to respect your body, how to respect, of not giving your sex up right away and trying to respect who you are as a person and make sure that people don't, walk on you. So this day and age, everything, it's a lot of the women's this, woke feminist dynamics of, women are supposed to be way up here and men are supposed to submit and be treating and be okay with being treated very poorly. And it's also, that's the same dynamics as you see in our Disney cartoons. Everything of a prince begging for attention and a princess or everything thinking that she's all high and holy. And that's not the way things really are, or that's not the way they're going to attract women. For years I sat there and I tried to learn about the dynamics of relationships and everything from watching cartoons. And the cartoons are wrong. That's not how things are supposed to be. And it's extremely toxic. You're not supposed to be where you're supposed to be a person begging for a woman's affection or everything all the time and bringing her flowers and all these other romantic gestures, and she's treating you like dog crap all the time. There's supposed to be mutual respect, and there's supposed to be a two-way street, both ways treating each other well and building each other up. Not one person is chasing one and that other person is pushing the other one away, and then maybe they might get some attention if they're good enough. That is toxic relationship. That is narcissism. It doesn't belong anyway. It doesn't belong in a good family household, especially with children. So so every day, not every day, but I talk about my relationships with my sons and the problems and everything. I mean, I keep it PG-13, but I talk about stuff, and I've been talking about stuff for a long time. And when they see me and I go on dates, these women, they're just like, wow, the only thing that I see from my father is he treats these women very, very good, very like gold. And they ask him, what happened to that one girl? I'm like, well, she didn't respect me, and this is this, and this happened. And I said, I don't want to date you anymore. So, because there's certain boundaries that you crossed that I don't tolerate, and you choose not to respect those boundaries. And so I'm pulling away because I need to make sure that I am respected in the relationship, that I am loved, and that the relationship is going to be growing. And if it doesn't, then I'm gone. Unless I'm in an actual marriage, and I'll only, if I'm married, then I might be able to put, since there's a vow involved or everything, I do whatever I can to make stuff work, unless it got into any kind of verbal abuse or physical abuse. So things can be worked out. Everything, but verbal and physical abuse is not okay. It's not okay whatsoever, and it is easy to do when things get heated and there's emotions involved, especially if you're like a parent and you have kids. That's but you got to try, for your children, you got to try to, hold back and try to explain, and just don't try, if you got a family and you're a man and everything, don't keep that all to yourself. So don't keep all the dating dynamics and all that stuff, especially if you're a single father, and try to explain a little bit what's going on and everything with you. And what this also makes is when your children become teenagers, or if they're teenagers already, then they're gonna feel more comfortable coming to you with their relationships. They're gonna be like, well, Dad, after a certain point, I think when they're 18, you should just tell them, you know what, that is between you and you shouldn't be explaining too much to me. But when they're children, you're supposed to be helping guide them, teach them how to make things work, what is healthy and non-healthy, tell them what boundaries are, and trying to make a good, healthy relationships going forward. Because I know for me, I want my sons to find a good woman one day. I want them to get married. I want them to have kids. I want to have grandchildren. And that is not going to happen unless I take all the mistakes that I made in my past, and everything, all the things that I learned and everything, and kind of teach them and mentor them and everything into amazing, healthy future relationships that I wish I had that kind of knowledge when I was their age. So that's my dynamics of healthy relationships. I really think, my personal opinion, some people might not agree with it, but my personal opinion is you should really try to try to speak about your relationships and the dynamics of your relationships. I mean, try to keep it PG or PG-13, but try to actually explain some stuff of the dating dynamics and everything, and how boundaries and respect, and how you're going with your relationship. Always display and everything good, solid behavior in front of your boys and everything. If you're going to argue with your woman, I think do it away from the kids. My strategy was to go out into the car. If I hardly ever argued, I can always sit down and talk. Go out. The easiest thing is to go out in the car, sit down, and then hold each other's hand, and then talk. So, and try to make that as a man, you're supposed to lay down hey, this is how it's gonna go. And I think in the future, if you guys start to argue, I think in the future you should go down, sit in the car, and then hold each other's hand and say that you love each other, or say one thing of what you appreciate about that person first, and make this a solid rule, and call it something. Call it we should do the golden rule. We should do the golden rule right now. I need that right now. Please give that to me. So, and if you do that, and you sit down, things get a lot less complicated, a lot less more heated when you're sitting there holding the girl that your love hand, and she's looking into your eyes, and you guys tell about how much you appreciate each other before you start that argument, or it starts getting real heated up, and then things de-escalate a lot faster, especially when you're doing physical contact, holding each other's hand, like we are in this together. So, I mean, take that as you will, and everything. It's a great strategy for me. I know that doesn't really sound that cold-hearted, but I mean, it's something that worked for me in the past. So, I mean, as always, thanks for watching my video. Give it a thumbs up if you like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear what you think, and as always, stay cold-hearted. It's my life, dog.
It's my life.